There was a morning a few weeks ago where I woke up at 5 a.m., got dressed, went to the gym, came back, sat down to work, and somewhere in the middle of it, I just stopped. Not physically, I was still moving, still doing things, but something in me stepped back and asked a question I wasn't ready for. Who is this for? Not in existential crisis kind of way, just genuinely, quietly, like a small, honest voice that had been waiting for a gap in the noise to finally say something. And I didn't have a clean answer, and that bothered me more than I expected it to because I thought I knew why I was doing this. I thought the reason was obvious, but when I actually stopped to look at it, really look, it was blurrier than I wanted it to be. Let me go back a bit. When I started waking up at 5 a.m., it felt purely internal. Something clicked, something inside me decided the way I was living wasn't matching the future I kept thinking about. So I changed the alarm, started showing up to the gym, started treating the mornings like it belonged to me instead of whatever mood I woke up in. And for a while, I felt completely honest, like something I was doing for reasons that lived entirely inside me. Not for an image, not for an outcome, just because the alternative felt wrong. Because without me noticing, something else started layering on top of that. I started thinking about the person I was becoming, the identity, the disciplined guy, the one who's up even when everyone's asleep. And that image, the idea of myself, started to feel just as motivating as the original reason, maybe more. And here's where it gets complicated because wanting to become disciplined is not wrong. That's a fine thing to want. Most people say that's exactly the right thing to want at 18, but there's a difference between building discipline and performing it. And the line between them is thin enough that you can cross without realizing you did. Performing discipline looks identical from the outside. Same alarm, same gym, same work sessions, same consistency on paper. But on the inside, it feels different. There's a subtle audience, not real people watching, just an imagined version of who you are supposed to be watching. And you are doing things partly to satisfy that image, to confirm yourself that yes, you are that person. You are on the one who does this. And when that image is watching, you are not really free. You are still in a performance, just a private one. The moment I actually clocked, this was small. I was mid-set at gym. Nothing dramatic. I caught myself thinking about how I'd describe this morning later. Not to anyone specific, just narratively. Like I was already writing the version of this day that confirmed the story I had about myself. And I stopped mid rep and thought, that's strange. I wasn't just working out, I was just also constructing something. A version of Anas who wakes up early and grinds and doesn't quit. That construction was happening simultaneously with the actual thing running parallel to it, almost louder than it. It wasn't fake, the effort was real, the sweat was real, but the motive had split into two, one honest, one performance. And I hadn't noticed until that moment when they briefly separated and I could see both. I have been trying to figure out since then whether that's a problem or just a human thing because maybe everyone does this. Maybe identity is always partly performance. You act like the person you want to be until you actually become them. There's probably something real in that. But I also think there's the version of it that becomes a trap, where the performance becomes the point, where you're no longer building the thing, you're maintaining the image of someone who builds things. And those are not the same. The trap is subtle because the output looks identical. You still show up, you still do the work, but the internal experience shifts. It starts to feel like you're protecting a reputation rather than building a life. And protecting something is exhausting in a way that building something isn't. One feels like moving forward, the other feels like holding a position. and holding a position gets heavy fast. What do you do with that realization once you have it? Honestly, I'm still figuring that out. I don't think the answer is to stop caring about the person you're becoming. That caring is part of what keeps you moving. You need some image of the future self to walk toward. But I think the check in matters. Regularly asking, am I doing this because I genuinely want this to be mine, or am I doing it because it confirms something I want to believe about myself? And sometimes the answer is going to be both, and that's probably okay as long as you are honest about it, as long as the performance doesn't swallow the real thing underneath. The discipline has to be yours before it's an identity. The work has to mean something before it becomes a habit. Otherwise, you will end up very consistent at something that was never really about you in the first place. I still wake up at 5 a.m. I still go to the gym. I'm still doing the work. But there's a different quality to it now, more quiet, less narrated internally, less like I'm building evidence, and more like I'm just moving. I don't know if I fully solved whatever I noticed that morning. Maybe you don't fully solve it. Maybe the performance and the real thing just have to coexist, and you have to keep checking which one is louder. But I think the fact that I noticed matters. The small honest voice asking for who is this for. I think that was something important trying to surface, and I'd rather hear it than keep moving forward so fast it never gets a chance to speak.